Now to our final guest, who runs a business that delivers cloud services. And no, I'm not talking about rain clouds. I'm talking about data storage and AI computing. But these services, they do use a vast amount of water in their day-to-day operations. It's the most profitable wing of Amazon, of course, one of the world's biggest companies. And full disclosure here, the day before this interview, silly old me busted my ankle on the tennis court. So not to disappoint, I sent my producer David to interview one of the big bosses at Amazon Web Services.
Tanuja, Randery, on this week's Talking Business, we're looking at global water security. And looking at that resource, it's something you need in your own business model for cooling your data centers. How confident are you in your access to water where you need it?
At AWS, we recognize water as a really scarce resource. And so we've actually made a commitment to being water positive by 2030. And what that means is that we will give back as much water to the communities and the environment as we take out, primarily through recycling water, reusing water, and improving efficiency of water usage in our data centers.
I'm thinking particularly about some of the regions that you oversee, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and in two of those territories in particular, water scarcity is a really acute issue. So how do you do that? How do you mitigate your impact on that precious resource?
Amazon was the founder of the Climate Pledge, and we've got almost like 450 signatories across 38 countries on the Climate Pledge, and it's primarily about getting to net zero carbon by 2040, excuse me. So what we do with water is exactly the same. Our commitment to water positive means that we work with communities around the world in all the countries that we operate our data centers in to make sure our data centers are operating with the most efficiency, that we're reusing the water, we recycle the water, and we have a bunch of replenishment projects actually with local communities as well.
Now, you've been the market leader in your sector for a decade. You've got major competitors, Microsoft and Google. Google sales grew faster last year. Is there something that held you back during that period?
In our Q1 earnings call, AWS year-over-year growth was 17% in Q1. We stay super committed to our customers. I think that's what we are entirely focused on, by the way, and we've got about almost 100,000 customers now that are using just our AI and ML services today, and probably have the most experience when it comes to AI. We have been working with AI for 25 years from the beginnings of Amazon.com, and one of the things we always say is there's no compression algorithm for experience.
A lot of our viewers will be looking at AI as something they've really only considered over the last year or 2 years. You've mentioned it's a 25-year trend line through which you've been working. So let me put this to you. How has AI changed as a function of your business model in that time?
We did some research recently that would show that European businesses broadly have increased their uptake of AI by almost 32%. And the reasons for that are very important. One is revenue growth. So 64% of businesses say they've seen revenue growth increases. And 9 out of 10 talk about efficiency and automation benefits that they're receiving. If you add up that kind of uptake, and if we continue that uptake, which I'm confident given the experimentation that we're seeing and the technologies that we're seeing launch, then that could unlock for Europe something like 600 billion euros of economic value by 2030.
And let's have a look at security. We saw last year how a major data breach affected thousands of organizations. How hard is it to keep your customers' data safe?
Security is job one for us at AWS. Everything we do, every product that we launch, we ensure that we have enterprise-grade security built in. Our customers have full control of their data in all of the regions that we operate around the world. They control access, they control where they store it, they control how they manage it, and they control how they encrypt it. And it's very important for us that we both educate them and we work closely with them to ensure data security.
The EU's new Artificial Intelligence Act is to regulate the industry. Are you concerned about the impact of regulation on innovation, or are you optimistic?
We are optimistic about working with regulators around the world to create an innovation and experimentation friendly regulatory environment, but it also is very important for us to recognize citizen rights and trust. And so we're absolutely committed to ensuring responsible AI services are delivered. And working closely with regulators, whether it's in Europe, by the way, or globally. Actually, it's very good to see Europe having their AI Act and committed to safe use of AI.
Another question about Europe. Europe traditionally lags behind the US in digital skills and in productivity. What can Europeans learn from the US?
I'm so glad you brought the topic of skills up, because going back to that $600 billion opportunity I spoke about in terms of what Europe could unlock with AI, the biggest blocker that we see in that transformation is actually digital skills gap. So only, as an example, only 13% of UK businesses can actually access the right skill set that they require. And 60% plus of organizations in this report say they cannot access the skills. A third say they're hindering them, right, in terms of their growth. We have been very committed to skills from the very beginning, training and reskilling. And we made a commitment to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to train 29 million people for free by 2025 around the globe.
Your business model, cloud computing and storage, needs a huge amount of energy to operate. The International Energy Agency said the industry is heading towards 1,000 terawatt hours by 2026. How confident are you in your energy security?
Amazon are the founders of the Climate Pledge. The Climate Pledge has over 450 signatories across 38 countries, committed to a net zero carbon world by 2040. In addition, I will say to you that we are committed to powering our operations with 100% renewable energy by 2025. And what that means, to make it real, is if you move a workload from an average European data center to one of ours, by 2025, when we are at 100% renewable energy, you can reduce carbon emissions by 96% on that workload. And by the way, we're already up to 80%. So when I get asked questions about how to be more sustainable, I always say move to the cloud, because the cloud is very sustainable. In addition, we are the biggest buyers of renewable energy around the world, and we are commissioning wind and solar projects as well.
And let me close with this, Tanuja. When you look ahead in this fast-moving industry, what are the biggest developments, shocks even, you expect to see in your marketplace?
David, we're living in times of such unprecedented change that the world has never seen. We're literally at the start of the AI race. This is a marathon, and we're literally at the start. I think we will see some incredible innovation from startups, large businesses, as well as small businesses. And we're very excited about what the future holds and our ability to reinvent the future with our customers.
Tanuja Randery, Managing Director of Amazon Web Services, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you.